Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shifting Tones, the podcast with nerdy tones and shifting formats. So last week, we had an open-ended discussion about movie tropes, and I learned a lot. May not have been the most knowledgeable about them, but maybe this week I will be a little more knowledgeable because I am shifting the tone over to anime, something that I love deeply and I know a lot more about than movie tropes. I am your host, Steph, and I am joined together by lovely Sam.
Hello.
And Lorissa.
Hello.
Now that I have your introductions done, I would like to know, how are you guys?
Well, as of the long time in between recording this podcast and our first one, I am, doing fantastic as usual. Maybe a little TMI sweaty in my room here. We had to turn the air conditioning off in order to get a perfect recording for you guys. But other than that, doing great.
It has been a hot month.
It's been a hot month.
You can say that again.
It's been a hot month.
Yeah, it's been a hot month.
It's been a hot month.
It has, though. It's been so hot. Even just I feel like around the country, even in the world, this summer has been ridiculous.
And humid. Oh my goodness. Cannot handle the humidity.
I'm doing good.
Yeah? Yeah?
You guys are talking about the weather. You asked how I was doing.
Oh, I thought you meant with the humidity. I was like, boy, I'm pretty sure you're inside all day.
I am. Yeah, I'm in my little basement dungeon all day working, so I don't know what the outside world's like. I've heard rumors of it. I know that it's still there, I think. Other than that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, all I do is just work, and then I come home and here we are. So not much has changed for me. I'm still working at my job, which I don't think I mentioned last time, but I teach. I'm a teacher, so that's all that jazz.
That's all that jazz.
That's all that jazz. Teaching the kids. But yeah, so if you...
Somebody has to.
Well,
the future and everything. Someone's got to look forward to it.
Yeah, I suppose. This is hard.
Oh, you're good. I was just thinking about if I was a teacher, I don't know if those kids would come out okay. As far as the knowledge I would put forth with them, I don't know what kind of teacher I would be, but I know I would do a lot of, what are those games you can play where you, everybody creates a name?
Kahoot.
Yeah, I would do a lot of Kahoot, a lot of multiple choice question tests, and a lot of coloring. And I don't care if it's first grade or 12th grade. It doesn't matter. A lot of coloring.
That's fair.
I feel like you would put a lot of students in your place because you did have a brief stint teaching a class to middle schoolers, if I do remember.
Oh yeah, there was no holding back there because I wasn't technically a teacher legally. So yeah, I could pretty much say whatever I wanted to the kids and they couldn't stop me.
I mean, he's not a predator, so don't worry. He didn't say anything creepy.
What the?
Yeah, we're cutting that out.
That is so... I was not expecting you to say that. Let's be real. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I want to shift over now to some anime. I'm switching gears. We're switching it up. We're switching the tone. Oh, I said it. A hard shift.
A hard shift.
So I might not be able to teach you the world of academics, but I can teach you about my favorite anime in this week's episode. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about our top 3 favorite anime. I'm limiting it to 3 because I feel like I could go on and on and on. So it's not that I'm limiting you guys. It's more so that I'm limiting myself with options.
Steph, I feel very limited right now.
Yeah? Do you?
Extremely limited.
Tell me more.
I feel like I have maybe a top 3.5, even 4 perhaps, but I will limit it to 3 for you.
Okay.
See, I had a problem coming up with even just 3 because I am very picky with my favorites. So, maybe it's forced me to challenge myself instead of limit.
Okay. I accept.
I don't think that's real.
It was fairly easy for me to come up with top 3, but funnily enough, that's a weird word to say, funnily. Okay. Funny enough, I think that's the right way to say it.
There you go, teacher.
Funny enough, the top 2 were actually super easy for me. My third was hard to come up with because it was a tie for a lot of ones in its place.
I'm not going to give any spoilers. I think I know what your top 2 are for sure.
I'm sure you do.
I can make a pretty good guess on the third one, but I'm hoping it surprises me. I'm hoping it makes me audibly gasp.
I'll be waiting for the gasp.
But it probably won't.
We'll see. So I think how we'll do it is we will go through. Do we want to start with our number 1 or start with our number 3s?
Oh, the suspense.
I'm going to go with number 3. It's always better to go from save the best for last, save the juicy bits for last.
Okay, we could do that.
But this is you're the host.
All right. No, so I wanted everyone to kind of give me their opinion. I could have went either way. So let's do that.
Do I get points for allowing you to do it?
Oh yeah, 10 points to Sam. So let's start with
Woo!
our number 3 on our top 3 anime choices.
Drum roll, please.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and start. This might be one that I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard about, and I think, Sam, you might be surprised with this one.
I swear to God, if you say something like, you might not have heard this one, but My Hero Academia.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, so my number 3 on my top 3 all-time anime list is actually Scissor 7.
Never heard of that one.
Really?
Yeah, and I've watched quite a bit.
Is that a weird Netflix one?
Kind of. So let me go into a description. I have a description here for you because I kind of figured that you guys might not know it, and I know some people out there might not know it as well. So Scissor 7, also known as Killer 7, is a Chinese animated series. So it's actually a Chinese anime.
Controversial.
I know. But it first gained international kind of success, or just exposure, due to Netflix picking it up.
Aha, I was right.
So just kind of a general plot of the show, and what is it? It's the clumsy and broke 7 fails a crash course in professional killing and opens a barber shop on Chicken Island as a disguise. This sounds wild, I know, just trust me.
Very.
He then decides to become an assassin and gets stuck in a power struggle between 2 rivaling factions while he tries to recover his lost memories.
Interesting.
Is
it completed?
It is not.
Oh.
There are 4 seasons currently out in this anime, and I will say it has a very different format from stereotypical anime.
Yeah, see, I pulled it up because I was like, I feel like I've heard this before, and I'm pretty sure scrolled past it on Netflix, not because of it doesn't sound interesting, but the art style I was a little thrown off with. There was an old Cartoon Network show, very limited, called Hero 108.
Okay.
The show was trash. It wasn't great, but the art style kind of reminded me of that. And I think that's what might threw me off, because I used to watch this show and didn't like it. So maybe I'm like in my head comparing the art styles, and that's why I never watched it.
And that could be. It does have a very unique art style to it, but that's also one of the reasons why I do actually really love the show. So I saw a trailer of it on Netflix, and that's how I first discovered it. And I completely fell in love when I first watched it. I was obsessed. It was really interesting to me too, because I think the first 2 seasons, and really all the show, usually a standard anime episode is around 22, 23 minutes long, including the opening and the ending scenes. But this one is only anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes long, including openings and endings.
Ooh.
Oh.
So
interesting. So it's not quite as short, like something like Hitalia, where it's like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, not like a 5-minute. Yeah, so it's a lot longer than Hitalia, but shorter than a standard anime episode length. But it is a really cool concept. It's very different because it's more so based on, Chinese culture and Chinese heroic stories. It's a really fascinating take because it is from a different culture other than Japan who's animating it, and every voice is in Chinese. I watched the sub only, so hearing an animated show completely in Chinese when usually you think of anime being in Japanese, it's just a very fascinating difference, and it kind of just pulls you in, and I really do enjoy it. And like I said before, like the art style really drew me to it. The story is really fun. It is a comedy anime, but then it also does dive into a more deeper, darker tone, and it's just a really fun series that I feel like is a very unique. It's very different. I don't know how to exactly compare it to anything else, just because I can't think of anything that would be remotely close to it.
Interesting.
So, side tangent, I do find it interesting that you consider a Chinese animated cartoon to be anime.
I know, that is a whole different topic.
Is Avatar: The Last Airbender anime?
It could be.
Maybe that's a future episode.
I feel like I'm going to count it as anime because I think it is based off of, Japanese animation, because that's typically what anime is. So definitely.
That's right, the style.
The style. It's definitely a stylized, animation that has similarities to Japanese anime. But I do think that they do a good thing on their own where they make it unique. They make it different and they make it stand out. I think the character designs are phenomenal. They have done a thing where, kind of tying in movie tropes, they actually, when you have background characters and you might see a character once and then that's kind of it, you might not ever see that character ever again.
Right.
Not this anime. This
Ooh.
anime has background characters who they actually delve more deeply into, and you kind of get hooked to background characters.
Interesting.
It's really fascinating because I didn't think I would like some random, chicken,
Right.
but here I am, crying over a chicken. It's that kind of a weird show where it's so, they do their characters so well and write them with such a story, and they give them just this unique perspective that I'm like, damn, I'm really crying over a chicken right now. What is this show?
Yeah, but you've cried over chicken nuggets before, so I don't know.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But, it's just, I really, really do enjoy it. So let's see. How about Lorissa? Why don't you tell us what your third favorite is?
Yeah, tell us.
Oh no, and that one I was going to say. So I do know my favorite one.
No, third one.
To be honest, the third one is basically a toss-up. So
Oh.
Okay.
someone, heads or tails?
Heads.
You gonna go with heads? Okay. Heads. That means that it's going to be something interesting. And
Yeah?
I don't think you actually had a choice between heads or tails. I think you're just making it up right now.
no, I did, and I wanted to pull it up. As all good weebs know, that there is an app called My Anime List that you can record all of the animes you have ever seen and watched and completed. I was trying to pull that up, and my finger made a big fat thumb mistake. So, FYI, nerd status here, I have 160 entries.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Boo, what the heck? So heads, like Steph said there, this is also a Netflix pick.
Ooh.
And I think Sam might know where I'm going with this.
Okay.
One of my criteria for picking my favorite anime was, would I go back and rewatch it? Because there's a lot of stuff I watch where I'm like, okay, I got it. Don't need to go back. Really great time, but I'm not going to get anything if I watch it again. But for this show, I can watch it again over and over again, and that is Agretsuko.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
Yeah, Retsuko's so great. And so for anyone who may not know, it is a Netflix original. It is from the same creators of Hello Kitty. Good old Sanrio.
I didn't know that.
Cute and cuddly. Yeah, so that's why it's really interesting, because normally you associate Sanrio with children's show cartoons, the cute little plush animals with all their little good friends, including Gutama. And no, Retsuko, she's a little bit different. She's someone may call a little feisty. So it's interesting because someone from our generation that may have watched Hello Kitty as a little child, we're all now grown up and we all have big boy and big girl and big person jobs now. And we follow Retsuko as she gets her first big girl job at her work situation. And Sam, do you remember what office she works in? It's the accounting department, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So she's just shuffling along all day long, and her boss is, no joke, a pig. So that was the main point of the first season, not to give anyone any spoilers, but she learns to adjust to adult life and how to work through the Japanese 9-to-5, where some days it's not really a 9-to-5, it's more like an 8-to-8. And we follow her along on that journey. And the last season, talking about movie tropes from before, Retsuko is also kind of a classic meet cute, where we meet Haida in the first season, who sits next to her, and it's a moment of will they, won't they? And so I think in the last season that answer has been fulfilled, but no spoilers, because I want you to experience the journey I went through of the agonizing, what's the word I'm looking for? Frustration at Haida. Because he can't, he's complicated with his emotions, and he's not sure if he wants to take the risk from being friends to lovers. I really enjoy.
So I was going to say, so what makes this, why is this on your top 3?
That's a good question. Because I have obviously seen a lot, because I said I have seen over 160. Well, maybe not 160. It's 160 entries, and I think some of them count them as seasons, but it's a lot I've seen. And I think what's good about it is that it's definitely relatable to someone in our age group. And that's the problem I find with a lot of anime, is that it's geared towards children or not quite young adults, but teenagers. And this is something that, like, as an adult, I can actually have fun and be like, oh my God, yeah, that's totally right. They got that just right. Like, I'm not in high school anymore. And so I really enjoy that about that.
That's fair. Yeah. I do like that. Also, Sam, have you
Yeah.
seen this anime?
Yeah, I watched it with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's a good show. I think I agree with what she's saying, where like it feels adult like, because it's somebody going through work-life balance and trying to figure out how they want their life to go. Like they're just out of college, they don't live with their parents anymore. You know, how can they experience life for the first time on their own? And so there's a lot of trials and tribulations she has to go through. It's a fun anime.
Yeah, and kind of, oh, go ahead.
Go, you go.
Great. So it's kind of like what you really liked about your anime as well.
Scissor 7.
Yeah, Scissor 7 is that there's a lot of different characters, and every single character, you're like, okay, he's just like the guest for the day. No, he's going to be important maybe in the next season. And so you learn a lot about all the characters, and they all actually do develop quite well, because a little bit of a spoiler, but not really. Boss, the pig, you end up actually kind of loving him by the end of it all. And if you would go from first episode, you're like, how the hell did that happen? Because I definitely hate the boss right now.
Nice. I've never seen it, so I will have to check it out.
Yes, absolutely do.
As soon as I get Netflix back.
Well, you know.
It's an easy watch, yeah.
All right. So let's see. Now, I guess it is your turn, Sam. What is your third favorite on your top 3?
My top 3. I think number 3, I'm going to have to go with Angel Beats, probably. At my number 3.
Oh, okay.
Wow, only number 3.
Yeah, Angel Beats at number 3. I was kind of like Lorissa a little bit, where I was like, oh, where do I go with like the order? Because to me, all my top 3 are equal as far as like level of enjoyment. The one I always usually say is like, oh, that's like one of my favorite anime all time. Didn't even actually make my list the more that I thought about it. So, because I think I did go back to like what Larissa was saying, like what is an anime that I would want to go back and watch again. And so I think Angel Beats, even though it's only 13 episodes, it's one of those ones where I feel like I could go back and still would hit in the feels. So it's about a high school in the afterlife. These kids are kind of in limbo, and
spoiler.
It's not a spoiler. It's the plot of the show.
Yeah, but you don't quite find out that they're not.
Look, it's 13 episodes. You're gonna find out within the first 3.
Wow.
So the main character, he ends up there and he's got amnesia and he doesn't know why he's there or how he got there, and he meets up with a group of rebels and that are fighting an enemy, and it's an interesting anime because it's an interesting take on like afterlife and friendship and all these things. I know it sounds cheesy, but the ending is very emotional, very symbolic in a lot of things, and it makes you question a lot of things. So
I would agree.
just trying to talk about this anime without spoiling it is very hard because it is only 13 episodes. So it's a pretty big cast of main characters, but each one is important. Like if you were to go watch some animes, it's like, yeah, you have your main 3 or your big 4 or whatever, and then all the other ones are like, yeah, they're kind of important side characters. To me, everybody in the show is a main character. So even if somebody was to die in episode 1 or 2, it's like, wow, you kind of started getting attached to them. Like, I know, yes, it does center around like 4 or 5 people, but you do have a lot of supporting characters that are, to me, main characters. And I think that's what I enjoy a lot about the show. It's fun. You should watch it. It's 13 episodes. It won't take you long. Watch it tonight.
Wow.
And I think sorry to interject, but I do find it interesting because I really also enjoy Angel Beats as well. It's an interesting take on your like classic shoujo anime where you think it's going to be like super cute and like, oh, is someone going to fall in love with someone? But then like even in the first episode, you're like, okay, no, that's not it, because the girl that the guy bumps into, and you're like, okay, I know where this is going. No, you're wrong. Because she grabs him, puts him underneath like was it like a bush or like a concrete step or something, and she tries to shoot, I believe her name's Angel, correct?
I'm not telling you anything.
Okay, I believe her name was Angel. The whole point for her goal for this high school is to kill Angel, and you're like, okay, this is gonna be a wild ride.
See, that's interesting that you both have seen it because I have not.
You haven't seen Angel Beats?
Wow.
I have not actually.
It's a classic.
Yeah, I know. So I have another one that I need to watch now.
Put it on the list.
Put it on the list. Yep. So we will move on to now our top 2.
Number 2.
What is our second favorite anime? So I will go next. My number 2, which let me see if Sam knows this one because you seem like you knew my top 2.
Oh, I already know these, yeah.
What is it? What's my number 2?
It's Naruto.
Nope, you're wrong.
It's Mob
Wow.
Psycho.
It's Mob Psycho.
Okay, see, I knew it was 1 or 2. Like, I knew it's there.
You're good. It is Mob Psycho 100. So, a little plot synopsis. Well, I should say Mob Psycho, a lot of people do know the show, but a lot of people might not know that it's also written by the same author as One Punch Man. I feel like a lot more people know that anime compared to Mob Psycho, but it is the same author, and I personally think Mob Psycho is written better than One Punch Man. But I know One Punch Man is supposed to be, you know, more comedy, kind of breaking the stereotypes in anime and things like that. But I think Mob Psycho has a more meaningful, deeper connection to life and storytelling. So let me read a quick synopsis for those who may not know. But Chicago, I almost said Chicago.
Wow.
In the mean streets of Chicago, Mob Psycho.
Right? Shigeo Kageyama is an average middle school age boy nicknamed Mob. Although he looks like an inconspicuous person, he is in fact a powerful esper with immense psychic power. To keep from losing control of this power, he constantly lives a life under an emotional shackle. In order to help him learn how to control his abilities, Mob works as an assistant to con man Arataka Reagan, a self-proclaimed spirit medium. Mob wants to live just a normal life, just like those around him, but a barrage of trouble keeps coming after him. With his suppressed emotions growing inside Mob little by little, the power threatens to break through its limits, and he eventually encounters other espers like the Claws. I made you guys watch this.
You absolutely
Yeah,
did.
you literally shoved it down our throats. You're like, hey, you're watching Mob Psycho. And we're like, what? And you're like, ding dong. And you're at the door with Mob Psycho in hand.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Blu-ray, indeed. She has bought this in physical form.
Yes. This show has made me feel something. It is a shonen, which are my kind of ultimate. I think all top 3 of these anime I've put here are shonens, which I just adore that genre of anime. But this shonen definitely is just, it's so different from other shonens. And I think they do a phenomenal job with storytelling in both like an anime sense of there's really cool fight scenes, really cool animations to go along with it. But then it also does a very good thing of like slice of life in a way too that really gives depth to its character. And it just like is a really good, it does just so good storytelling. Like it's so hard to talk about because there's so many things to talk about with this show. But it just, dude, it makes you feel good and it makes you think about life. And there's such a good message with it where it really is just being a good person at the end of the day.
Not to mention that fire intro stuff.
Oh, yeah. It does have some wonderful opening songs. That's true. There's like some really good ones, but I recommend Mob Psycho to anybody because it is just such a fun show to watch. I know that the biggest thing that people kind of are off put by is the art style. It is very different and very unique.
That's kind of a theme I've noticed here with you.
Yes, it is. I do like art styles that are just completely different. But honestly, because the art styles are so drastically different from norm in anime, it draws my attention and makes me watch it for a lot longer. And they have a lot more artistic freedom when it comes to bigger, more emotional scenes and just fighting scenes too. They are a lot more liberal with their art style and it really shows and it makes it so much better in the fights, really.
Have you started watching Zom 100 yet?
I have not.
Have you heard about it? It just came out.
I have not.
Okay. It's the way I describe it to people is it reminds me of like Mob Psycho with like Chainsaw Man together.
Oh, okay.
It's like a lot of fun colors, fun use of colors and like animation styles and it's I mean it's just silly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Anime, but I've been enjoying it so far. But that's kind of like when I watched it, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of Mob Psycho.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, if it reminds you of that, I have to check it out then. You said Zom?
Zom 100, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
A little correlation with the hundreds there.
Absolutely.
So let's see. So I talked about my second favorite, but how about Larissa? What is your second favorite anime?
No, sure. And this one I have prepared for.
Do you have to get tails?
Yeah, do you have to flip a coin again?
No.
Okay.
No, this one I do know. But to go back to Mob Psycho real quick, I just wanted to say my favorite thing about it because I was forced to watch it.
Yeah.
I love that the whole point is for this little boy to actually feel his emotions. And I think it's a wonderful message to give to men in this day is that it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel things. It's fine. You're going to be okay.
Unless it's over chicken nuggets. Don't waste your time.
Listen. But yeah, it's so good. It's just the storytelling is so good about life and just those life lessons and things like that. You can take away so much from this anime and apply it to your daily life. Like I'm like, wow, dang, okay, this affected me more than I thought. But enough about that. We got to talk about yours.
Enough about Steph already. Jeez.
I know. So this one is probably going to be a no-brainer for a lot of people who have watched anime, but it might be everyone's favorite, and that's okay. It's everyone's favorite for a good reason. And number 2 is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Good choice.
And I will say that for all of you guys who recommend for the newbies out there to totally skip Full Metal Alchemist, the original series, you're doing them a disservice because you really should watch the first 20 or so episodes to really understand that beginning story arc, because you miss a lot of character development if you skip that. And that is the main reason why I love this show, is for the character development. It is fantastic. And it's also written by a woman.
Mhm.
So that means, as we all know, a lot of men don't know how to write female characters. And so she probably has written the best strong female characters in anime history ever. And that'll include people like my girl, my one and true and lovely only, Hawkeye, Risa Hawkeye.
Oh yeah.
Chef's kiss. Oh my god, so great. She is everyone's dreams. I will say is that she's not only in this military where she has, does she have powers? Yes. No.
Nope, she's got gun powers. Yeah,
She's got gun.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't. But there, that is kind of a spoiler. She doesn't have them, but someone else in her family does. And I don't know. Just like thinking back, it has been a little bit since I've seen it, but I have watched it multiple times. I forced Sam to watch it, and her relationship with Colonel Roy Mustang,
The chemistry.
it's just chef's kiss. Like, it's just so insatiable. And like in the show, it's never official. They never make it official, but it's definitely hinted at that they definitely, they're doing stuff behind the scenes after work hours.
I think everyone online made it official.
And I just love that in this like really action-filled anime that you get this really tender intimacy between Colonel Roy and Risa Hawkeye. They are my one and only OTP. And for those who don't know what that means, one true pairing. It is probably the most canon, non-canon pairing ever. But my boy, man, if you need to go for anyone, if you need a like person to like try and like find in your life, regardless of any gender, you should go for someone like Roy, because not only is he ambitious and strong in his moral convictions, but he's also tender and respects boundaries. And that's probably the main reason why I think they never make it official, is that he respects that he's a commander over her, and he doesn't want to impact the relationship in that way and make her feel like she has to do anything because he's her commander.
So do you feel like you really like the show because of the characters and the development of the characters and the story with them?
Absolutely. Then that honestly is just the like drop of the bucket of why I love this show, because obviously Rory and Risa are the best, but kind of like it's similar to why I like my last one. I just realized where like in Retsuko, the boss, the pig, you hate him in the beginning, but in the end of it you end up loving him. And there's a lot of characters like that are in the beginning are technically villains, but then you learn and grow and through their context and their history why they made the decisions they've made.
Like Scar.
And then you end up, yes, Scar. You love him at the end.
That's a good example.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. And then like at the end of it, I'm like, why in the world did I ever hate this? And then you go back and watch it and you're like, oh yeah, he was kind of a jerk.
I think Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is definitely just such a solid anime. It's just story, plot. It actually has an ending.
True.
Like it's really well written. And like you said, it is a female author, so that is very different from the norm.
Absolutely. It's got everything, your action,
All right.
but also a lot of the action has a point. I noticed that in a lot of shonen is like there's fighting for fighting's sake. Like no, there was a point for every single action taken in that series.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. My second favorite anime of all time, I'm gonna throw up to this. This was a tough one, but I'm gonna put it Haikyuu.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it was actually the second and third, I guess, if you count like Dragon Ball Z, because I'm not counting like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like Dragon Ball Z, first anime I watched, and then Naruto, and then Haikyuu. Steph forced me to watch it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so good. And if you don't like volleyball, you watch this, you're gonna like volleyball. It's just a fun, quirky show, and it makes volleyball fun and sports fun. And I mean, that's all I got. I don't think I have to go too deep into it. It's a volleyball anime where the main character's really good at volleyball. He's short, but he's good at volleyball, and that's what matters. And it's fun, and that's why I like it, because it's fun and it makes me happy. And I'm like, I want to go back and watch it more. I want to watch him do the volleyball stuff.
Did you feel like you got very invested in volleyball and started learning all the rules and the tricks and things?
Not as much as that, but I got very invested like in the characters. I was like, I want to watch them play volleyball. Like I just want to watch them like on ESPN, this anime team play volleyball against like real humans.
No, that's fair.
I will say that is wrong though, because when he watched it and we realized that more seasons had come out, so we were like, oh my god, I gotta go back and watch the first season again. That also happened to be the same year the Summer Olympics were appearing, and oh man, that man sat down and watched volleyball. Not just beach volleyball, no, the men's volleyball.
Really? You were inspired.
It's good. Did you watch it? It's good.
You were inspired by the anime.
A little bit.
Ooh. No, it definitely is good.
Yeah, I don't got much to say about it besides it being a solid anime, and you should watch it.
I think it's just a fun one, and I think sports animes can be pretty underrated. But I think Haikyuu, for the most part, is probably like top sports anime for most people.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Blue Lock yet, the soccer one, so I know I need to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
This and like Slam Dunk, two really good sports animes. But
yeah,
enough about me. Steph.
We will now discuss our number ones.
Woo!
Number ones.
And now, Sam, you already mentioned what my number one is. Let's hear it. You know it. What is it? It is Naruto. I love Naruto. Naruto, I think, who hasn't heard of Naruto? I won't read the synopsis because, most everyone knows what Naruto is. So Naruto is just, come on, it's the GOAT. Like, come on, let's be real. I've been watching it since I've been 11 years old. I am now 28. I can't. I think it's just top tier. It's one of the best shonens out there. And yeah, the characters, the story, the world building, the plot, like it is just so good. The fights are so well choreographed, not even just animated, but the choreography.
Close enough.
Choreography? What? That is good. Choreography is amazing.
Choreography. I think I went to high school with him.
Listen, I'm passionate about this anime. This is why it's number one. Okay. This is a good anime. I think it's just a classic. And if you were to come into like my room, you would see all my Naruto manga and you would see all the little figures I have. It's just top tier. Like I love it so much that like I'm gonna out myself. I would make AMVs for this anime.
Nerd.
That's how dedicated I was back in the day to it. Can't make AMVs now because I don't have time, but if I had time, I probably would still be making AMVs because this show is just that good. Nerd, I know, yeah. All right.
Before you go on, I do want to know, because I feel like you just said you liked everything about it, but I want to know, for the listeners out there, who is your favorite character in that show?
It's probably Naruto, honestly, because...
Really? Not Sasuke?
Yeah. No. Naruto is probably my favorite, with Rock Lee being second.
Oh.
I do like a lot of the characters on the show, but Naruto is just always like that determination of not giving up and actually following through with what he says he's gonna do is so inspiring. And as a kid growing up with this show, it was something that I needed to hear in my life. And it was very inspiring for me to get through school. And this is embarrassing, but it really did help me in a lot of life situations where I'm like, what would Naruto do?
No.
Like, he wouldn't give up. No, I'm not joking. Like, that's just 100% how I was, growing up. It's just, it was, well, Naruto wouldn't quit or Naruto wouldn't stop or, it's just that, because that's how inspiring he was to me growing up and influential. So this is a top one. I hold it close, dear in my heart. It's very personal to me.
Oh, bendito.
Enough of this sappy.
It's not WWJD anymore.
The what?
It's not WWJD anymore. What would Jesus do? It's WWND. What would Naruto do?
Basically.
That's horrible. You're dumb.
All right, Larissa. Well, you tell me what your number one is.
So, I like to think of myself as a connoisseur of anime and movie and anything I watch, but usually my top favorites of anything are actually trash.
Okay.
But like select trash, like top tier.
I'm intrigued.
So, my favorite, and as I have stated before, I'm a huge lover of shoujo, is Ouran High School Host Club.
Yes. Yes.
It's so great. And what I think makes it top tier is that it takes all of the tropes from the shoujo anime and just breaks all of them and makes them a parody. And so you watch something and you're like, oh, it's going to go this way. No. Not only are they going to break that, they're just going to break it in the most like funny way possible. And so for anyone who may not know, and if you don't know, what are you doing with your life? Go watch the show. The show is about Haruhi, and she enters in a prestigious high school academy. And she, unlike everyone else in the academy, is not well off. She's on there on scholarship. And so she's just trying to find a place to study, somewhere nice and quiet. So she finds what she thought was an abandoned classroom. She walks in. No. It's not abandoned. And not only is it not abandoned, she's very thrown off by the situation she encounters, and she immediately knocks over a rare, priceless artifact, a vase, and now she's stuck with a situation where she's not well off. Some might call her poor. I believe it was Koya. Yes. He comes in and immediately recognizes his situation for what it is and is like, hey, I know you can't pay off that vase, but we need another host in our host club. So they force her to become a host for their little host club party that she runs into. And so for the entire anime, you go along and you try and figure out which person she's gonna fall in love with. And I don't know, just the way they do it is just great. And if I had some more time to break it down, I definitely would be, because it is definitely the best shoujo ever. Although in recent days, it is a lot more controversial, and I'm not going to say I love the transphobia, but it is very culturally, context is very significant there, because the way we view trans people in maybe the United States is very different than where it is in Japan. And so, yes, it's still problematic in that sense, but once you understand the cultural context and why it's different, you're like, okay, still kind of bad.
Yeah.
But you understand why it was done in that way, the way it was displayed back in like, the anime came out in like 2006, but it's based off of a manga that came out even earlier. And so it really is like a time capsule of that specific time period of shoujo.
So what would you say is the number one part or the number one thing of this to make this your number one?
It's just so funny, and I can watch it over and over and over again and still laugh at all of the jokes. And like, I get tired of jokes pretty quickly, and whenever I watch this show, it's just so comforting, and I still laugh every single time. Like, it doesn't matter what the characters do, because I know all at the end of the day, as the series progresses, you're like, okay, this is kind of annoying. But then you understand why they're doing the things that they're doing. You're like, oh no, sweet baby child, it's okay. I know you're traumatized, but it's going to be okay. Haruhi is there and she loves you. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's okay, Larissa. You're allowed to have trash taste in anime. It's fine.
Now let's shift it over to Sam's number one.
My number one is going to be a newer anime, and I've only seen actually the first season of it. I know there's a second season out, but I've only seen season 1 so far, and it's still my favorite anime, and that is Tokyo Revengers.
Wow, really? Okay.
Tokyo Revengers is a shonen-style anime where none of the main characters have like any sort of supernatural powers that give them any sort of advantage in anything, but it's about guy who gets sent back in time to his childhood. Like, he's still in his like childhood body, even though he's an adult now, and it gives him the opportunity to change some things. And so when he changes things in the past and goes back to the future, it changes a whole bunch of things. So I'm not going to spoil too much, but it's about him being in this Tokyo Manja gang, and he is involved with a gang, gets in gang fights, and it's brutal, but it's a lot of friendship and it's a lot of fun, and it's an interesting story all the way through. A lot of like keep you on your toes, keep you guessing like what's going to happen next. Like, did that person die? Did that person survive? You don't know what's going to happen, but it's cool. It's suspenseful. It's actiony without any of like the supernatural stuff or superpowers or anything. It's just good old kids beating up kids.
So I'm intrigued that you called this your number one despite only seeing the first season. Do you think that would change if you continue to watch it?
I don't know. I think I'm going to have to watch season 2 very soon. At first, I wasn't sure if what I was seeing was actually season 2. It was talking about like, oh, the Christmas special. And I was like, oh, that's not season 2. But then I did research and it turns out what I was seeing is season 2. So I do have to go and watch it. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of new animes where only like 1 or 2 seasons are out. And I really, really enjoy them. And I think just anime is progressing as a whole. Like, Chainsaw Man was very close to making this list. And like, I've only seen, there's only season 1 of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Wow. I do like that. That's a fun little answer. I have not seen it, so I know I've heard about it though. I know a lot of people really like it, so I was kind of surprised to hear it as your number one.
Now, Steph, I know this is your thing. This is your show. You're the host. But I was going to ask, did you want to give out like an honorable mention, like anything that didn't quite make the list?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I think an honorable mention. Oh God, I had so many. There's so many for me that I love dearly. I think probably my next one I will have to say is Demon Slayer.
Let's go.
I really like that show. I think the characters are good. I think it's a really unique story, as well as it comes back to it. Art design. I think it's an amazing art style that sticks so closely to the original art style in the manga that the anime did a really good job of mimicking the same art style and animating it. And I think that was really cool. And they, it's a really cool anime.
Absolutely. Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen coming out around the same time, both having unique art styles, were both fantastic animes.
What is yours, Sam?
Oh, mine would be Akame ga Kill.
Ooh.
It's another one-off 13 episodes or so of very similar, actually, storyline to Angel Beats. 2 completely different animes, but just a one-off that's really enjoyable. It's simple. It's a shoujo or shonen. Jeez, shonen anime, but it's still fun. I enjoy it.
And Lorissa?
So there is a lot of honorable mentions, but the one I will say, just to do some more shoujo representation out there for our listeners, and it's not just a shoujo; it's a magical girl. And just like the other animes that are my top favorites, it breaks the stereotypes and takes them and is like, haha, you thought this is how it's gonna go? It's not. And that will be Madoka Magica. Chef's kiss. I don't need to say anything more because I feel like I've already spoiled enough for you. Just watch it. It's not that long.
It's a good one.
Go for it.
All right. Well, let's go through real fast. My top 3. My number 1 was Naruto. My number 2 was Mob Psycho 100. And my number 3 was Scissor 7. Lorissa, recap what were your top 3 anime?
Absolutely. So my favorite is Ouran High School Host Club. My second is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but do watch the original. And my third is Aggretsuko.
And Sam?
Oh yeah, my number 1 is obviously Tokyo Revengers. Number 2 is obviously Haikyuu. And number 3 is, of course, the classic Angel Beats.
So I think your top 3 anime really says a lot about each one of us. I think it really does kind of tie to our own personalities, which I think that's just a fun, personality thing. We're going to end it there. We went over our time, so I do apologize for that, but anime is fun to talk about. So thank you to everyone who listened, and I want to see what your top 3 favorite animes are, and maybe someone out there has a similar list to one of ours, but if not, you can let us know what your top 3 are as well. I would like to also say that we are everywhere on social media at Shifting Tones Pod. So you can follow us there and keep up with the latest that we are doing with our podcast. You can also follow us individually as well. I am Steph. My handles are at Spiffy Steffi on any platform. Sam, what are yours?
Yeah, you can follow me on Sir Captain Sam on any platform. I don't do a whole lot on social media. I'm more there just to support Lorissa, but maybe with this I'll be a little bit more engaging. So Sir Captain Sam on all platforms.
And Lorissa?
Yes, and if you would like to follow me, I am an artist, so please support my art if you can. And you can find me at all social medias at larissa.schaefer.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for being here and chatting about anime with me, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.